What's going on, guys? It's your boy John here again, sitting down on what is it again? I believe it's a Ben 10 fisherman's stool. Don't ask me where I found it. It's a long story. Okay, so how did I get to 80 days on NoFap on my third streak? Well, it's because basically the first time I tried NoFap, okay, properly, like seriously, because I did loads of 7-day streaks in the past. Like, I discovered NoFap when I was 19, okay? I discovered that there were benefits to it, benefits to not fapping away your life. Mainly because, and you know, what is the thing that actually drew me to that? It was this inner feeling that was constantly there that said that what you're doing is not right. Fapping, watching porn, it doesn't feel right. Feels good, but it doesn't feel right. It's not a moral activity. Despite what everyone around you is saying, everyone around me was saying at the time, it didn't feel right. Alright? It just felt like there was something wrong, something was up. And I just felt lonely. Right? Every time I was done, I just felt lonely because the act was a substitute for a real woman. So it just perplexed my senses, shocked my nervous system every time I did it, and I used to do it like 3 times a day, which is terrible. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, terrible shit. And I was drained. I just felt depressed all the time, anxious all the time. I had very little social confidence, even though I was trying to gain it by getting as much social experience as I possibly could. I just had no confidence when it came to interacting with normal people, and in general I can sum up all the negatives. I just wasn't a human being. I was a robot. I was in my head 24/7. I did not know how to communicate with I knew how to communicate, but I didn't know how to connect with someone else. And I just felt really bad. I just was in a very low vibrational state at the time. So something inside of me was saying, you need to get off this shit. Okay, this is a detriment to your life. It's a detriment to your social life, your sex life, your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health. All right, that's the biggest one, your physical health. I had no motivation, no willpower, no nothing when it came to when I was fapping. And the funny thing is I knew this back then. I knew that if I fapped in the morning, I was not going to get my work done. I knew this. Throughout the years, I knew that if I fapped in the morning, I would not do my work throughout the day properly. I would not be on my A game. So I would always, this is like the early stages of NoFap when I began to cultivate a bit more discipline, because before I would just wake up and bust one out immediately. Sometimes I'd even bust 2 out immediately. Wasn't good. Wasn't good. So as university came in and as I started to go to the gym, I realized that if I bust in the morning, I'm not gonna have enough energy for the rest of the day. So I have to reserve it for the night. I have to do it before I go to sleep. So that's where the first bit of discipline started to seep in, is I stopped doing it in the morning and I stopped doing it in the middle of the day when I had a bit of free time. Even then, that was a difficult thing to do. Right? So in the middle of the day, let's say I had like 5, 10, 15 minutes free, or I had 20 minutes. Sometimes I'd even have more. I'd have like 2-3 hours free. I would usually bust one in that time. Okay, if I had a free hour, I would bust in that time. I remember that it got pretty bad because I started to do it at work. All right, there was a few times when I'd have a free in my break time. I'd do it in the toilet. Yeah, it was a drug, man. It was a drug, and without me even knowing it, it subtly took over my life, and the content that I was watching got more and more weird. Okay, I didn't watch really fucked up shit. Like, I know people who have watched gore. They've got rape fetishes. They've got just a lot of degeneracy, man. My one was weird. It got really weird. You know, it got to the point where one woman wasn't enough anymore. I needed multiple women on the screen. Okay, and I needed split screens of women just doing shit. Yeah, and it just got weirder and weirder and weirder. Like, I just started watching more and more content, and something inside of me was really like, and also the amount of shit that I had downloaded. That was the scariest thing, man. I had like, I had 30 GB, dude. I had 30 GB of obscene material on my computer. So not only was I ashamed to show anyone my computer, but I was ashamed just to even reveal anything about myself, because I was deeply ashamed of what I was doing. You will not even be able to know how liberating the feeling was when I deleted all that. I just did literally Control All, Shift All, Delete, right? That was on this streak right now, the beginning of these 80 days. That's when I did that. But so yeah, I did these 7-day streaks. Eventually, when I discovered that you lose energy from fapping in the morning, I decided to go a few days more than just, well, I decided to just not do it on certain days. And as the days went by, I'd usually fap after 7 days, because I heard that your testosterone spike goes up after 7 days. So I used to do 7-day streaks. So there's the beginning, I would say, of my NoFap journey. But I never went on a dedicated streak until this year. This year, probably in February, I did a 14-day streak, and that was purely by coincidence. It was purely by coincidence because I meditated for the first time in my life properly, and I realized that I was fapping because I was bored. That's it. I was fapping because I was bored, or I fapped because I had a feeling that I wanted to get rid of. So I was using it as a vice, and I was using it as a drug. I wasn't fapping because I genuinely felt horny or I wanted sex. It was because I was just bored, or I had a feeling I wanted to get rid of. So through the process of meditation, I realized that I can deal with the feelings just by observing them, and if I'm bored, I can just meditate again, just go inside, go within, okay, really discover why I'm bored, or just even feel the boredom itself, just let it be what it is. And that's when I went my 14 days. I relapsed after 14 days because I felt really lonely, okay? I was probably going through a withdrawal, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was feeling really lonely, and I just didn't think I was gonna have sex, so I just fapped. And after my relapse, I felt like shit. I felt like absolute crap. Then I went back to 7 days, so I would fap every 7 days. Then that ended up going away, because then I would fap every 3 days, and eventually I went back to every day, until I really discovered what I was doing. Because then it just hit me on one day. At the beginning of these 80 days, it just hit me that I'm engaging in an obscene act. For some reason, I'd gotten closer to God during the time when I wasn't fapping, and then every time I did fap, I felt like I betrayed God, and I felt like I betrayed myself. And I didn't feel worthy of a woman. Okay, when I was fapping, I didn't feel worthy of a woman, because I knew that this activity that I'm doing is not a manly thing. Men don't fap. Men don't fap, and I knew that in my heart of hearts. Men do not fucking sit at home and play with themselves. It's not a manly thing, it's a boy thing. It's what you do when you're a child, when you're a teenager. It's time to grow the fuck up, is what I said. So every time I fapped, not only did I feel like a boy, I felt like a pervert, because I was looking at these nude girls online who were just showing their bodies off for money, right? I didn't deserve any of them. They didn't like me. They don't even know I exist. And I'm watching them, and I'm getting off to them. This is not right. It's not right. So I wanted a more healthy relationship between me and the opposite sex. I wanted a healthier relationship between me and God, and I wanted a healthier relationship between me and my own masculinity and self-esteem. Those were my reasons for then saying, fuck porn, I'm never going back to it. So I deleted the majority of the content that was on my laptop, and that was so liberating. But there was still a lot of filthy shit on my computer, so sometimes throughout the streak I would return to the computer by temptation and watch a video here and there and edge. When I edged, I always felt worse than I did before, and the day after I would be crippled with anxiety. So I realised that edging isn't good. Edging is probably worse than actually fapping, so I eventually cut out edging. And then I would occasionally peek at a video. By this point it was twerk videos now, it was just twerk videos. I never watched any nudes or anything like that. I was just watching twerk videos, because at this point I actually found normal girls attractive again. So I was just watching twerk videos, and I still realised that watching the twerk videos still induces anxiety. It still induces the feelings of shame. It still induces the feeling of guilt. So I had to cut that out as well. The only thing that doesn't induce a feeling of shame or guilt is when I just see a pretty or beautiful woman who is clothed. That doesn't produce shame. That produces just feelings of, oh wow, she's beautiful. Next. That's it. It wasn't like I would whip out my dick and go for another session now. Even if I saw a bit of cleavage or an arse, no, I can just admire it. I can just look at it and say, oh, that's a nice arsehole. Oh, she's beautiful. Okay, move on. Don't let it take you over. Feel your emotions, dude. Like, don't be crazy about stuff. There's this monk mode shit. I don't do monk mode. Look, you can admire a girl, you can admire a woman, you're a man, you're allowed. Just don't lust. Don't look at it and be there for like 10 seconds, like, you know, fucking drooling and everything. Don't do that. Just look, admire, move on. Okay, it's a woman's body. And the funny thing is when you don't fap anymore, when you just look at a woman's body, you realise that it's just another version of a human's body. So she's a human being just like you, but she's just got a different body. It's just another, it's actually beautiful when you look at it, because her body is the opposite to yours. Okay, whilst your body should be fit and toned, very strong, very hard, you know, you should have muscles and everything, you should be working on yourself. I want to remind you, a woman's body is very soft, it's very curvy, it's very sensual, you know, it's the opposite of a man's body. So you really get to admire the difference between men and women, and it's a beautiful thing. But when you're fapping, all you do is you look at a woman's body and all you can think about is getting your dirty fix, which is nasty. So the reason I lasted 80 days, I'm not on 80 days right now, I'm at 79 days, I'm going to be 80 days tomorrow, but let's fucking round it up for convenience's sake. The reason I got to 80 days is because my foundation, my reasons for going on it were to get close to God, get close to myself, and get closer to the divine feminine, to have a better relationship with the opposite sex. These reasons are emotionally compelling. They're important. They are important for my life, important for my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health. They're important for me to maintain my sanity, maintain my self-esteem. Okay, if I was to go back, I would destroy all the progress I've made. In this time, whilst I've been doing my streak, I've accomplished more than I ever have in my entire life, I would say. More than in my entire life. In this streak alone, I've lost around 20 pounds or 20 kg of fat. Okay, I've managed to improve my pull-ups to be able to do 6 very good full extension pull-ups. When at the beginning of the streak, I couldn't do any. I couldn't even do one. Couldn't even do one pull-up, and that's not even the full extension pull-up. I couldn't even do the fucking fake pull-up. Okay, with the with guidance, with the assistance. I'm able to do more push-ups. I'm able to do more sit-ups. I'm able to do more crunches. I'm able to run faster and further than I ever have before. Before, I would get tired after running for 10 minutes. Now I can run 1.5 miles. I will feel gassed, but I will be able to recover within 5 minutes. That's still bad. 5 minutes is still long, but compared to before, I would be gassed for around half an hour, and I'd have to sit down and drink and just slouch around, because the human body is designed to be able to run and be active. So when you retain your seed, you are able to push yourself further. So a few days ago, I ran 3 miles in 18 minutes. I did take a little break in between, a 10-minute break, because it was the first time I ran that distance in years. So I did take a 10-minute break, but I went right back on it and I ran the whole thing. I ran 3 miles in 18 minutes. That is a record for me, because before that probably would have taken me 25 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes. Because you just have more energy to be a human being, to be more functional, be a man, right? So to go back, gentlemen, to go back to relapse, to watch porn again, to have a session again, a PMO session, I would undermine all my work. I would undermine everything that I've done. I would undermine my own sense of self. Okay, and it's a sense of self, it's not a real self, of course it's not. But I'm creating a sense of self, I'm creating a more disciplined man. I'm a work in progress, right? So I'm responsible for what this body and this mind does. I am. So I've taken responsibility and I've said to myself, if I relapse, I will undermine all the work that I've done. So it's just not even a possibility. I will not relapse. I will not go back to it. I will not watch porn. I will not destroy my mental health again. You know, that's what I'll be doing. For a quick fix, I will lose every bit of normalcy I've acquired. Sure, not in the first session I won't, but it'll feel like it. I'll certainly feel like shit. But the relapse, to go back to that life, to even consider peaking or relapsing or doing any of that, will undermine all of the progress I've made. Because what I've realised on this journey is your progress is made or broken in a day. That's a real fact, gentlemen. Don't let that shit, don't ever be complacent about it. Your one day is enough to break or make you. So you have to be very mindful of what you do in a day, because if you break your routine or your practices that are there to keep you healthy, it's very easy to slip back into the old ways, because they don't happen. You don't feel the change instantly. The change is very gradual, right? So let's say you've been having healthy habits for like 80 days, and then slowly you start to get complacent and lazy, and you start waking up later, you start not taking your cold showers, you stop meditating as much, you stop doing your language lessons, reading, you stop going for your runs, stop working out. Okay, it just happens very gradually, and sooner or later you realize you're in your bed till 1 noon, and you're bored, you feel like shit, your self-esteem's low, and the urge to go and watch porn is all that's on your mind. And this is after 80 days. I haven't gone through this yet because I've experienced a little bit of temptation, right? Because the habits have declined a bit recently. So you got to be careful. Got to be very careful, because the devil is a trickster. The devil is a trickster, and he'll tell you that this is good for you when really it's not good for you. Okay, so if I'm going to sum it up, the way I was able to last this long, 80 days, was because I had 3 emotionally, mentally, rational thought processes and compelling reasons as to why I am on this journey. And this is my motivator, because I know that one day I'm going to be the man that I am. And notice I said the man that I am, because I'm making that man right now. Alright gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Hope you have a good one. It's a beautiful sunny day. Hope it's nice and sunny where you are. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.